Hi guys, this is Michko from YGO Team Nice, and today I'm about to show you my Paleo Frog deck profile, which I played on recent Belgrade Regionals. This deck is not top tier, it's not that popular. In best case it's, I don't know, tier 2 or 3. But I like to play this deck, I feel very comfortable with it, and I like the control, I like the combos, and so on and so on. And I'm really satisfied that I played exactly this deck. I took between 8th and 16th place, and I had a lot of fun. And I decided to show you my deck build and to explain something about deck. So let's first start with the main deck lineup. About monster cards, I played triple copy of Swap Frog. I really think that I don't need to explain this card. Best monster card of the deck. If you draw it, you have a play. If you draw it in combination with some other frog or Ronin, you have play even better. So really good monster, and you always like to see it. Never mind the first turn or late game, it always help you. Then I played triple dupe frog. This card is also good. It's 2000 defense monster, and you use dupe frog to protect usually your totally awesome, for example, because dupe frog says your opponent cannot attack other monsters except dupe frog, so he first needs to destroy it. And when it is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one frog monster from your deck to your hand. So if it's sent to the graveyard, you add your swap frog, since Ronin Toadin is not a frog. So you play triple copy. And after that, moving on to the Ronin Toadin. Almost everyone is playing a 2 copy of this card, because there's no need to play more than that or less. 2 copies are perfect. You can banish one frog monster from your graveyard and special summon Ronin Toadin, usually in defense mode, but sometimes it's good to be in attack. I'll explain later. And the only thing bad about this card is that it cannot be used as synchro material monster, but this deck never plays any synchro monsters, so we can say that this card got no bad sides. That's it for the monster lineup. Moving on to the spell cards, I have double pot of desires, one card demise, since it is now on 1, and one scapegoat, same reason, it's now on 1. And I really think those cards are perfectly fine in this deck. Some people don't like to play card of demise, but I have to tell you that every time I saw it, I had a strong board after resolving. You can't resolve it every time, because sometimes your opponent can Ash Blossom you, but if I resolve card of demise, I have a really big advantage. And even better case, is to pull desires combined with card of demise, because you can firstly play your desires to bite your opponent's Ash Blossom, and if he stops you, then you can resolve your card of demise without the problem, because Ash Blossom cannot be activated twice. And so that's the reason why I'm playing this card. As I said, some people don't like that, but I'm perfectly fine with Card of Demise. Path of Desires, as I said, I'm playing 2 copies. I think it's a really nice card. It's +1, and in this deck, in decks like this, when you need to put on the board as much trap cards as possible, you can use this card to draw more back row cards and set and have a better control, and so on and so on. And your banish cards, if you banish something that is good, you can use one Paleo card, I'll show you later, to return one of your banish cards to the graveyard, so not that much problem with those banished cards. And last card is Scapegoat. I really think this card is good in this deck because you don't have a lot of monsters, and when you see Scapegoat, that means you will have in your next turn a lot of link spamming and a lot of extra deck playing, and that means you don't have to waste your monster cards or your Paleo cards to make monsters from the extra deck. You can use those tokens. You got four of them, so really nice card. Also, when I see it, I knew that it will make a difference. So guys, moving on with the trap card lineup, which is the biggest part of this deck. I will first show you my Paleo cards. Triple Olenoides. This card is your MST of the deck. It says target one spell trap card on the field, destroy it. So I use this card against almost every decks. For example, against Altergeist, against Mech Knights to mess up their column, against Spiral players to destroy their field spell card or their continuous spell card. So this card can be very nice. I suggest you to try triple copy as I tried. Next one, Paleozoic Deinonymiscus. This card is also good, but no more than 2 copies. 2 copies are fine. So target one face-up card on the field, discard 1 card, and if you do, banish it. Very useful. As I said, for example, you can stop your opponent's monster to destroy some of your monsters by banish them. Also, you can banish some spell or trap cards which are good on the graveyard. So very nice card, and it helped me a lot of times. Then double Canadia. This is your Book of Moon of the deck. It says you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, change it to face-down defense position. For example, to stop your opponent from Link summoning, from XYZ summoning. Very nice card. And last but not least, one Paleozoic Lianholia. Some people don't like to play this card, but for me one is perfectly fine, because if you don't draw it when you need it, you can add it from your deck to the hand by using Paleozoic Opabinia, which is a Paleo XYZ monster, which you will see later. So this card is not that bad at all. It says target one banish card, return it to the graveyard, so you can use it to return your Pot of Desires cost, one of those 10 cards. For example, for returning Ronin Toad cost, your Lost Wind, which is banished, some of your other Paleo cards that are banished, for example. So you see that there are a lot of situations when this card can be useful. And just to mention, if someone's not familiar with that, all of those Paleo cards has one effect which is same to all of those cards, and it says when a trap card is activated, no matter is it yours or your opponent's, you can special summon your Paleo card from the graveyard as a normal monster, Aqua type, level 2, 1200 attack, 0 defense, and in that case they are all unaffected by other monster card effects. So that was my Paleo lineup. Moving on, guys, with other trap cards. First we have a triple copy of Trap Trick. This card is just amazing. I didn't play it before, but one of you suggested me to try this card in some of our previous video about Paleo deck, and I have to tell you that you were right. This card is just perfect for this deck, and it says you can banish one normal trap card from your deck, except of course this one, and set one card with the same name from your deck to the field. You can activate that card you set this turn, but you have to be careful because only one other trap card can be activated after you resolve this card. So those things are something you have to be worried about, but no matter, this card is very nice. And you have a lot of targets in this deck. For example, I don't know, Reckless Greed, Heavy Storm Duster, Lost Wind, some Paleo cards, or just I have, for example, Evenly Matched in my side deck, and in game 2 and 3 you can easily set from your deck your Evenly Matched. So that was my triple copy of Trap Trick. Next we have a triple copy of Reckless Greed. As I said, this is one of my Trap Trick targets. I really love to see this card. If I don't draw it, I just can activate Trap Trick, and basically that's 6 copies of Reckless Greed if you need it. And this restriction of not drawing 2 turns, it's not pretty much something that bothers you in this deck. If you resolve 1 copy, you are good. If you resolve 2 or more copies, you are excellent, and you will probably going to win that game. Next we have a double Crackdown. I think 2 is a perfect ratio, as I said for some of my previous cards. You don't need to play triple copy. This card is for taking control of one of your opponent's boss monsters. For example, if you can beat that monster, just take control of that monster and you can go, for example, link summon with it, and so on and so on. Next we have a double Heavy Storm Duster. This card is amazing. It says target up to 2 spell trap cards on the field, destroy them, and you cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate that card, but you can just play it in your opponent's turn, for example in the end phase. I use it a lot against Altergeist players and to pop up their face up cards, of course after they pay their costs, or so. Really nice card, helped me a lot. Next we have a double copy of Lost Wind. I decided to play this card over Infinite Impermanence because this card can be activated up to twice. For example, when it goes to the graveyard, you can set it back when your opponent special summons monster from the extra deck. So you can use your Lost Wind up to twice, as I said. And the other thing that is very important is that you can activate it in the damage step when your opponent tries to, for example, to destroy your Totally Awesome. You can activate Lost Wind to prevent Totally Awesome from being destroyed and to shrink your opponent's monster attack. And your opponent cannot chain almost nothing because it's damage step, and that's why I chose Lost Wind over Infinite Impermanence, but it took, for example, 2 or 3 days for me to decide. And last but not least, Solemn Package. Those cards are just amazing. cannot imagine play this deck without Solemn package. I decided to go triple Judgment, triple Strike and double Warning. Warning is nice, but for example, in the late game it can be a little bit cloggy. Also, if your opponent make their field, also Warning can be something you don't want to pull, but that's why I'm playing a double copy. And Strike and Judgment are just cards against every deck. So Strike, for example, is against hand traps, against something which can make the difference on the field. And Judgment is against everything, as I said, spell, trap or monster, no matter. And my opponents always got salty when I activated some of those cards, so really good to have it in this deck. And that's all for main monster cards, 40 card. Guys, moving on to the extra deck. For the extra deck I got a triple copy of Totally Awesome. Absolute winner of this deck. Really nice card and a lot of good plays with it. Personally, my favorite play with Totally Awesome is in game 2 or 3. When I give my opponent Gamma Seal, I special summon then Totally Awesome and attack my Gamma Seal and destroy both this card and Gamma Seal. And this card activates its effect on the graveyard to add back my Gamma Seal. And I then use it to special summon again to my opponent's monsters. So in that case I can get rid of 2 of my opponent's monsters, which is very nice. Then Paleo XYZ monsters, 1 Anomalocaris, 1 Opabinia, 1 is good each. Maybe if I have to decide which card goes out in some other deck builds, this will go out because Opabinia is really nice and you can add your Paleo cards from your deck to the hand, which can be very useful in some situation. Next we have Marine's Coral Anemone. This card really helped the deck. I know it's not Paleo related or Frog related, pardon, but it's really nice to have it in your deck. You use it to special summon Swap Frog from the graveyard, and after that you can continue your plays by activating Swap Frog's effect, and after that you special summon from the graveyard your Ronin Toadin, and you can make down here you're Totally Awesome with those Swap Frog and Ronin Toadin. So very useful card. Next one, Mr. Boy. No need to explain why I'm playing this card. Security Dragon and 2 copies of Link Spider. I can easily summon Link Spider using my Scapegoat tokens or my Paleo cards, since they are on the field normal monsters. And Security Dragon I use to return first of all my opponent's monsters, which are problematic for me, and second thing, I use it to return for example Gamma Seal, as I mentioned earlier, in the combination with Totally Awesome. And also not only Gamma Seal, you can return the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode to the hand, and you can use it for example next turn if your opponent keeps summoning monsters. So really good combination of cards. You can summon first Link Spider and down there Security Dragon to be co-linked, because only in that case you can activate your Security Dragon effect. Moving on with the Nightmare package. one Cerberus, one Phoenix, Unicorn and Griffin. All of those cards helped me a lot, especially Griffin. He is good to set back your destroyed back row cards or back row cards that you activated earlier in the game. For example, a lot of times I use it to set back my Solemn Judgment, and that Solemn Judgment can be really deadly in late game. And also Nightmare Griffin is good because it says that no monster can activate its effects except linked monsters. So really nice card for this deck. And last but not least, one Boral Sword Dragon. I use this card to get rid of some of my opponent's strongest monsters, which I cannot destroy with other cards. And if you have Ronin Toad on the graveyard, which can be special summoned once again, you can special summon it to attack mode. That's the situation I mentioned before. And after attacking first time with the Boral Sword, you can activate its effect to return a Ronin Toadin to defense, because it's better to be for him in defense since he is 2000 defense monster. And your Boral Sword can attack once again, so 3000 beater to attack double it, to attack twice, pardon, it can be really nice, and you can finish easily your opponent. So guys, that's it for the extra deck. Moving on to the side deck of this. So a triple copy of Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode. I explained why I am playing this card. I like to pull one when my opponent's special summoning a lot of monsters and making a strong field. For example, nowadays it's popular to play spirals, and this card can be very good against spirals. So triple copy of Sphere mode, double Gamma Sealed Sea Turtle Kaiju. Same reason, I can special summon it to my opponent's field and get rid of some of his strong monsters. Also, as I said, this card can easily go back to your hand in situation I mentioned, and you can use it again. And it's water. Also, you can dump it to the graveyard with Swap Frog if you pull a double copy of Gamma Seal. So no bad at all to play double copy, not cloggy. Very nice to have this card in your side deck. Double Inspector Border when you're playing first against almost every deck that has to start their combo with some monsters. So I can again send that spirals can be stopped with this, but any other deck except spirals, so you can put this card when you're playing first, and you're pretty much okay if you draw this card. Triple copy of Evenly Matched. As I said, you can set it in some situation face down with your trap trick, or you can just wait to pull this card if you're playing second, and to finish your opponent with only playing one card. If you draw some Gamma Seal or Ra Sphere mode in combination with Evenly Match, it can be even more deadly, so no need to explain some other things about this card, because everyone knows what to do when you see this card. Triple copy of Wiretap. I use this card to prevent my opponent's Evenly Matched or solemn cards like Judgment, Strike, Warning, or any other trap card. For example, if I'm facing Altergeist player, I can return their protocol, for example, or spoofing to the deck, and it makes a really big difference on the field. I can protect my monsters, my plays, so I'm really good with the triple copy of this card. And last but not least, double Dark Bribe. Same reason, almost same as Wiretap. You can stop your opponent's, I don't know, for example, Lightning Storm or something like that, Twin Twisters, anything that can mess up your field. So double Dark Bribe for the end of side deck, and it's perfectly good for me. So guys, that was all for today. This was my side deck. I hope you enjoyed my video, and see you soon. Don't forget to leave down a comment, to like and to subscribe if you want. See you guys.